agent who hasn't had that discussion with a title company or a lender, what should I be concentrating on as far as that conversation? How do I engage them in that conversation, and how should I go about that?
Well, the funny thing is, I knew as a young 21-year-old that I should probably have a coach or a mentor or somebody that had been doing business that could teach me and could answer these questions that you're asking me. So what I did was I chose my cubicle right outside the door of the #1 Century 21 agent in Michigan at the time, so that when I was working or making calls in between, if I wasn't doing something, I could hear him from his office 4 feet away on his phone calls. Or I even asked him to take me on some presentations, listing presentations, or to show a few houses. I only had to go with him 2 or 3 times to listen to what he was doing, but that didn't cost me anything. He was happy to do it since I was young, aggressive, and had questions galore. He was happy to answer them. So I guess I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I didn't even set up that way, and I didn't start out asking a mortgage company and title company. What happened was this mortgage guy used to come in and hit on the top agents in our office while I was sitting outside the #1 in Michigan. One day he said, "What is your name? My name's Drew. I see you're new in here. Do you have any questions?" And thankfully, this guy, Drew, who's still a friend of mine today, 28 years, almost 30 years later, like I said, he liked the fact that I was in there every day. I was listening to Keith. I was asking questions. He took me to lunch one day and he said, what can I do for you to help you build? I don't think most mortgage people take that approach, but he did. And I said, really, I'd love some brochures or something. He said, I'd highly recommend that because everybody gives out business cards. But if we can get you some trifold brochures, I'd be happy to print those for you. Since you're young, don't have any sales yet, and you're just getting started, I'd be happy to get you your first 1,000 if you don't mind if on the back panel, I just put my information on. I said, sure. And he said, for business, if you send me one deal, you can judge me from there if you want to keep me around or not. But make me a promise. As long as I do good by you and your customers and your clients, keep me around. I said, absolutely. Why not? So I think it cost him probably $500 to $700 to invest in me and buy those first 1,000 brochures. But he did it. Next thing I know, a week or two later, I had a buyer. I sent them to Drew. They were very happy with Drew. So the ball just started rolling from there. And then I started getting listings and I had to introduce myself to a title company from there. And I've kept them around ever since as well because they've done good by me. So why would I switch?
So you mentioned, you were present in what I would call you had proximity to success, going to the office and sitting by the right people. What would you say you would suggest an agent maybe who doesn't have that routine? Maybe they don't have an office they feel they can go to, or maybe, they just hadn't considered that and they think they're doing fine at home, doing everything on their own.
The way I would attack it today, because believe it or not, when I started out, and I don't even know how long you've been in the business. I think it's been quite a while. But when I started out, we had those MLS books. They were like phone books. They would come out every 2 weeks with the pictures of the houses, the new listings. They would put those books out every 2 weeks. We didn't even have, it wasn't totally computerized yet. So the computer we had at the office at that time was DOS, the black screen with green letters.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have Windows yet.
I used to build out batch files in DOS shell and all that stuff.
So my answer to somebody today starting out with more people working from home, we're now more in the digital age than we were back in 1996, would be join a team. Because even teams that are fast-paced and so on, they still have a Zoom meeting once a week or whatever their pace and their cadence is. You can meet on people with Zoom in the comfort of my own home. Even though I look like I'm sitting in front of Detroit here, you can meet with them on Zoom and it just takes a few minutes. So plug into a team is what I would say.
Now, I think you're saying more than plug in. I speak to a lot of agents who have, an office that they can go to. They're on a team. But if I ask them how many times they're actually at the office a week, it might be one because there's a team meeting. And I think what you're saying is leverage that resource for more than just what's required of showing up on team, but a little bit more. And why don't you expand on that?
And I've always believed that if you really want success, you're going to do whatever you say you're going to do plus some. Even if it's just 1%, even if you grow 1% better every day, after a while, it becomes 30% better or 100% better, in a third of a year. You're 100% better if you grow just 1% per day, right? So incrementally, to me, that's the key, is anything you can do to become incrementally better. And always at least do what you're going to do, but try to do more, even if it's just 1%.